Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Tamara. Today we are back with another BookTok Made Us Read It. We are diving into the follow-up to the BookTok famous The Fourth Wing, Iron Flame. If you would like to see this in video format, head on over to Patreon and you can see our pretty faces without commercials. Also, if you're interested in after shows, we have plenty available for you right there on Patreon. So head on over and check out all the fun stuff. Don't forget, you can also join me and my two co-hosts over on the Book Clubs app for even more bookish chats. Please subscribe and like the podcast wherever you're listening. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can find me everywhere at Shelf Addiction. Joining me today is feature co-host Casey from Heart Full of Ink. Welcome back, Casey.
Hello, hello. I'm so excited to be here.
Yay. Tell everyone where they can find you online.
You can find me on Facebook at Heartful of Ink, Instagram at Casey_Heartful of Ink, or on my website, heartfulofink.com.
Okay, so before we begin, I'd like to remind you that as always with book chats, we talk full spoilers. So spoiler alerts, you have been warned. First up, the stats and the synopsis, and then we'll jump into it. Today we are discussing Iron Flame, Book 2 in the Empyrean series, written by Rebecca Yarros, narrated by Rebecca Solar and Teddy Hamilton. Published November 7th, 2023 by Red Tower Books and Recorded Books. The hardcover is 623 pages. The unabridged audio is 28 hours and 16 minutes. Casey, would you please read the synopsis?
The first year is when some of us lose our lives. The second year is when the rest of us lose our humanity. Everyone expected Violet Sorrengill to die during her first year at Basgaith War College, Violet included. But threshing was only the first impossible test meant to weed out the weak-willed and the unworthy and the unlucky. Now the real training begins, and Violet's already wondering how she'll get through. It's not just that it's grueling and maliciously brutal, or even that it's designed to stretch the writer's capacity for pain beyond endurance. It's the Vice Commandant who's made it his personal mission to teach Violet exactly how powerless she is, unless she betrays the man she loves. Although Violet's body might be weaker and frailer than everyone else's, she still has her wits and a will of iron, and leadership is forgetting the most important lesson has taught her. Dragon riders make their own rules. But a determination to survive won't be enough this year, because Violet knows the real secret hidden for centuries at Basgaith War College, and nothing, not even dragonfire, may be enough to save them in the end.
Okay. So, Iron Flame, 623 pages. This thing is a beast. And longer than the first, as they do.
Which,
yeah.
I have the first one. I have the pretty first one
Yay,
right here.
We're twinning with our books.
Yes.
Okay. High level, as we do.
Oh my fucking God.
Yeah. I reread the end this morning because I had some extra time, and I was like, damn, I feel so bad for Xaden. I feel bad for him. Like, I don't even feel bad for Violet, but I'm like, damn, this guy cannot catch a fucking break.
He can't catch a fucking break. Although, yes, I did guess this ending because I guess everything, but you're going to laugh at me because I missed the biggest fucking clue.
What's the biggest clue?
Okay. So, back in Fourth Wing, when Violet first kills Jack, when she's freaking out, she's like, oh my God, there's no body. There should be blood everywhere, but there's no blood. And I was like, he's coming back. He's alive and he's coming back.
And you know what? You just reread that. So I'm thankful you did, because that was in the back of my brain. It was so far gone.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm so glad I reread this. But anyway, when they were fighting on the mat, when he challenged her on the mat before she kills him, he starts pushing energy into her. And so as in Iron Flame, when she's like, oh my God, he was pushing energy into me. Of course he was. Bavain. I was like, Jesus Christ, Casey.
Yeah.
I missed the biggest fucking clue.
So, okay. So speaking of the venom, I feel like I am missing information still with all this with all this plot, all this extra. I feel like I still don't understand exactly what happened. Okay, so I know they get more powerful, but why are they trying to change them into venom?
I don't necessarily know why they're trying to change people. I think we're going to get more of that in book 3. But the Venin are from the fables that her dad was telling her. They're the third type of magician. They can't match with dragons. They can't match with anything else. So they reach down into the earth to take magic into their own bodies. And that corrupts them. That turns them evil. All they want is more and more and more power. They can't. There's no channel for them. Like there's no dragon to help balance the magic.
So that's what I'm torn on. Like, what is the motive of these people trying to make more of them, right? Or convert them? Like, why? Because they have a dragon. So is it because they're taking people who do have dragons and they can retain the dragons after becoming Venin versus...
I don't know. And again, like I'm hoping she's going to explain all of that in the next book, because it sounds like they're going around they just want more power. That's all they want is power. They're just fueled by the desire for power.
Every student, every first year that hasn't matched with a dragon, they could go around doing, I mean, honestly, they didn't have to take the strongest. They didn't have to take, that's why I'm like, what is it? It's something else.
Yeah.
Because why go for that when you have all these students running around?
Well, Xaden and Violet have very, very strong magic in themselves already. And so I feel like if they are converted, then the Venin will have more power. I don't know.
But they wouldn't have gotten those without the dragon. Those don't come to fruition until you have a dragon.
Yep.
So...
Yep.
I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. But yeah, you're right. There were clues there that would happen to him, and that happened to Jack. There were clues.
Oh yeah, no, they're rereading Fourth Wing, just rereading it for the second time before I even touched Iron Flame. I saw, like, in chapter 1, she tells you everything that's going to happen. And it is so brilliant. Her foreshadowing is some of the best foreshadowing I've ever seen.
Read chapter 1.
Read chapter 1 because it tells you everything that's going to happen in this book. But like, oh my God, her foreshadowing is so on point. I need like 6 hours and red string and I'll turn into that crazy meme guy just like pointing and like, look, see this word right here turned into this plot point there. And oh my God, it's, say what you will about the story, but her writing and foreshadowing is so fucking incredible. I rarely see this anywhere and I am just beyond impressed.
You know, I would agree. Like, even within this book, there were foreshadowing at the beginning to the end. And I know, I can see there are telltale signs where she is setting up in the third book. Like, for example, we know that Violet is going to get a second signet if she doesn't have it already. In my mind, she has it already. She just doesn't know it.
Yes. What do you think it is?
So, I'm not exactly sure what it is, but... And Darna is such a unknown, like, element there. It's something that's gonna... Okay, so if I had to guess, it has something to do with reversing Venin, or something to do with tamping it down so that her boyfriend does not turn evil.
Yes. Oh, yes. No, I'm sure if we went back through both books, we would already find the clues on how to fix Xaden. Like, I am 1,000% convinced that I've missed it in these two reads, but it's already there, either in when they're talking about the fables or when she's talking about other stuff. Like, Rebecca has already told us how he's going to be fixed, and we just need to hunt for the Easter egg.
Yes, because between Jacinia and her, they're gonna find it, because Violet and and Jacinia, they are very smart people. And I mean, honestly, even Dane might help her find it. I mean, all they gotta do is read enough and, you know, use your logic, and that's how she figured out that Xaden had a second signet. So I want to talk about that. So, no,
yes.
do you want to stop me for a reason? Okay.
No. I was just going to say it took her talking to other people to figure it out.
Yeah.
But yes, she yes.
finally figured it out. And so I understand why Violet was mad off and on throughout this entire book. I get it. I understand it. I even agree with her some of the time. But I also agree with Xaden some of the time. Mm-hmm. Who in the hell is going to say to my brand new girlfriend, hey, there is a secret that I have that would endanger my life and only my dragon knows it, but I'm going to tell it to you.
Yeah. No. I was so annoyed with Violet because she's such a fucking hypocrite. Because she wanted him to tell her
everything,
every fucking detail. And then he was like, well, you can't tell your friends, so you need your space from them. So she was like, all right, I'm just not going to tell my friends anything. And then she's like, nope, I'm going to tell my friends everything. And he's just going to have to deal with it. And I was like, girl.
See, okay.
Girl.
When it came to, okay, so let's tackle two things. So first,
yes,
the second signet.
Yes, sorry.
I understand her reaction to that, to be honest. Because his signet is a part, so apparently the mind reading group, however that you call that, it breaks down into sections. So there's different types, and he can read intention, which is a gray area, I think. Like, you're not literally reading my mind, but you know what my intent is, and you know what to say to get to me to change my point of view.
My mind, yes.
So hearing that instant, she's like, shit, did he do that to me? When? How? All the things. And I feel like that is a normal reaction, especially because of the things he's lied about or lied through say the word for me. He's lied of omniscient. Yes. Say, Lord have mercy.
Omniscient.
Thank you, omniscient.
Yes, it's okay. It's early.
I'm still asleep. Okay. So because of that, I understand her gut reaction to kind of like be leery and can I trust him and how much has he done to me and blah, blah, blah.
See, I disagree with that because he can only read her intention. He can't change her emotions the way Kat was inflating her emotions and making her crazy. And I think Violet was like, oh my God, he can change my emotions the way she does. And so she was freaking out about like, oh, he made me love him. Like he made this emotion stronger.
Well, I think he could have through influence, not because it's magic, but okay, so I don't know. I wish we would get more examples of him reading intention. Because like if I know somehow that your back hurts, I'm going to give you back rubs. If I know I'm making you more comfortable and more like me because I'm doing the things you like. I'm making you feel more comfortable on purpose. Not magic, but I can read the intention of you and I'm going to make myself more appealing to you. I think that's what she thought.
Okay. Because I was like, girl, he can't influence your emotions. Like, yes, he can respond to them.
He can manipulate your emotions based on what he thinks your intent or feeling is.
Yeah. I would say manipulate you, not manipulate your emotions.
Which would then make you... Like, we've seen it in the real world. Guys figure out what your weak spot is. They act like what they think you want. And then suddenly you're all into them. And then they show their real face. Like, wait a minute.
Yes.
And it didn't take any powers for that. So that's what my mind was thinking.
Okay. Because I was like... I thought she was more upset that he was like Kat. And I was like, he's obviously not. And it just got frustrating. But I spent the whole book kind of frustrated with her for thinking the worst of him and then doing exactly the opposite of what she wanted him to do. And like, I was just like, Violet, sit down, girl.
She does a lot of the things he does. But because she's doing it, it's different in her opinion.
Yeah. In her opinion, it's fine that she doesn't tell him every detail. He just has to ask for it. And I'm like, that's what he told you.
But again, I can see both sides. So I don't think either one of them are all the way wrong or all the way right.
No.
Because
Absolutely,
when it comes to Violet, and I agree, you don't know what you don't know. So how do you know the right questions to ask if you don't know it, you know? So I'm supposed to ask you, I don't know, like how she figured out about the signet. That took so long for her. She would have never just thought to think, oh, he has a second signet.
But like you said, he shouldn't have just told her because it puts his life in danger.
Exactly that. So it's kind of like this line, but like on the flip side, she had something real obvious she wanted to ask him and she didn't. He's like, you've been sitting
for 5
on this
fucking months.
I've been waiting for you to ask me about this, right? And she avoided it because she didn't want to hear the answer. So it's like she has her own responsibility in that. So I can see Violet don't got it and he don't got it all the way. Neither one of them are all the way right.
Yes. And I absolutely agree with that. And I have got to say that some of his comebacks and when he was calling her out on that was so beautiful and brilliant. I fell so in love with
I swear,
man.
I'm like, like, I would take him. I want him. If you don't want him, I'll take him. Because, he's got some flaws.
This is definitely a man written by a woman, but I fucking love you. Please be real.
Zayn's got his flaws, but he's like the sweetest guy. He's the sweetest guy under it all. Like, even though, like, for example, when she kind of agreed to, like, kind of talk it out with him and, you know, she wanted to have sex with him and he said, no, I don't want to have sex with you because I don't want you to think I'm trying to manipulate you with sex. She goes the opposite. She's like, you're withholding sex, which is with manipulating me. So it's like, well,
no, because she told him that in book 1, she cannot separate emotions from sex. And he said, I'm respecting your boundary. We're both allowed to have boundaries. This is your boundary. I am respecting your boundary. And let me tell you, I swooned. When that man said, I am respecting your boundary, I was like, I'm done. I'm taken. Take me. But
the funny thing is, they switched boundaries because she's like, but you said to me, you can separate it. So I'm there. I'm with you. And he's like, well, I'm not there. I'm where you are. So they swapped boundaries.
That whole conversation where he was like, well, I'm playing you right now and you're going to be me and it's fine. Yeah. We'll flip later. Oh my God. I loved it so much.
Cute. That's why I'm like, see,
it was so
cute.
He
is a good person. Like, he is a gray character. You know me, I love a gray character. I love it because I think he's trying to do the right thing. He may not always do it in the best way or whatever, but I feel like he tries his best. Like, for example, there was another part and you can kind of tell in the book, he's being more and more aggressively protective of her after she got beaten up for 5 days and tortured.
Yes.
And she eventually says, you're acting just like Dane. Stop it. Yes. And then he's like,
oh my God. Yes. And he was. Yeah. He was getting so crazy protective. But she was tortured for 5 days by her so-called professors.
But she is also in the wing. She is also a part of this army. And it's just like I envision like two people that are in our army. Yes, both of you can get captured and tortured. Both of you, you know, you care for your person. You don't want them hurt, but you can't treat them like they're a civilian. She's not a civilian.
She's not.
Is going to school to learn how to take being tortured. Like, that sucks so bad that happened to her. But she's right. You cannot baby me. You cannot lock me down because you don't want that to happen. No one wants it to happen. But I signed up for this, regardless if I wanted to at first or not. But she's fully committed now, right? She's fully committed.
So, quick side question from that torture scene, when she was delirious, she started seeing Liam's ghost. Do you think it was really his ghost, or do you think it was just her being
I think
crazy?
It was his ghost, because she saw him again later. But then it turned into his sister. So I think...
Yes.
Okay, I know the mind is powerful. And I know when you're in a bad situation, you might imagine something. But we're in a fantasy world. Why can't a ghost appear? I don't think.
Exactly. That was my thought too. I was like, yeah, this is the person who, if he had any sort of power or ability to come back as a ghost, he absolutely fucking would.
Yeah.
And he would be right there with her, trying to keep her somewhat sane while she's being tortured.
Oh, it was really nice. I'm like, oh, he helped her.
Mhm.
Even if it was her own brain. Like, that is what she
even
needed.
if it was her own brain, I want to believe that it was actually his ghost.
Yeah.
But
that was crazy. That whole torture and the fact that instructor was like healing and letting them do that and healing and doing it back and forth. I'm like, that's the kind of torture that humans cannot imagine, because we can't instantly heal wounds and let them break everything again. That is like awful.
Yep. So psychologically fucked up.
Yeah. And then, okay, so when Dane walked in, I'm like, okay, so there's a part, you guys, in the torture scene where the teacher is not getting what he wants. He's like, okay, F this, I'm gonna bring in the big guns. So we all know that Dane can get memories by touching you. So he brings him in and he's like, look, this is a traitor. This person, I gotta warn you. And if she's saying
this person's starting the revolution,
if she say anything crazy, I'll explain it later. I'm like, oh God, what's he gonna do? So I instantly, okay, so before I say this, I felt in my bones that Dane would get a redemption. I didn't think she would leave him like that. So when this part happened, I kind of knew what would happen. So he finally touches her after he kind of didn't want to do it, right? He didn't want to violate her privacy, but he just did it. And then when she started with intention pushing what she wanted him to see most forward, I'm like, oh, he's gonna go her way, because he's not heartless.
He's not. He's really not. And again, like, there were little clues in the first one. There were clues in the second one. Like when they immediately come back to school in chapter 3 or 4 or whatever. Like, he's shocked. He's hurt. He doesn't know what she's talking about.
He doesn't realize.
He was like, yeah, I told my dad some stuff, but I didn't know what was happening. I didn't think you were going to die. And I just
didn't know the setup, but
yeah,
he did.
He was never evil. He just made a mistake. Confused.
Well, and during that part, so the beginning, the part that Casey's talking about, he calls her to the mat because Violet refused to talk to him. So he's like, okay, since we doing fights, come on, let's get out here and go. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So they're talking to each other basically while they're fighting. And it kind of comes out like the first time he touched her, he said it was by accident. He didn't mean to do it. But the next time he did mean to do it.
Intentionally,
and he felt really bad about that. And especially since what happened, you know. And I believe that he didn't know it was going to be sinister. But he was so wrapped up in his feelings. As he was in this book too. You can also tell he wanted their friendship back. But before they started hanging out and reading together for, you know, research, he's like, do you love him? Are you in love with him? He's asking. And she like, yes, and it will never change. He like, oh.
He was like, I was there when Zayden walked into that torture room and I fell in love with him after that
I would be in love with him, probably. I'm like,
and I was like, yep, you get it. You know.
So that torture scene, like, so
that changed it for everybody. Yes. Everything changed for everybody.
So she did not want Zayden to come for her, but of course she knew he would. And Dane like is helping her up, and here comes Zayden, and she like, don't kill him. Don't kill him, please.
He's good right now, I promise.
Because he killed so many people getting to her.
So
he just
many
goes
people.
Through and just, I can't imagine anything like that, obviously, because we're real people. But like, even in a fantasy state, like someone to just come in and just kill everyone between the two of us. Like, wow. He's a hero.
Fantasy. It's a fantasy.
I'm like, that was hot. Okay, that was hot.
That was really hot. Yes.
And I'm like, wow. Okay, anyway. So
but yeah, back to Dane. Like, Dane, he needed his redemption. He needed to be like, okay, I fucked up. The rules aren't always good. The rules can be broken. Like, And I'm really glad that he came through, and when he read her memories there, he was like, oh, I fucked up. I fucked up real bad. Okay, I'm now Team Xaden. I am now Team Violet. I'm now Team Revolution.
Yeah.
Fuck the rules. I'm here to help.
Yeah, in that moment, in the escape, Xaden has said, "Are you changing or what? Are you changing sides or not? Choose now. Choose or die," basically.
Yes.
He's like, "Okay, I'm following you.
I'm here. I'm helping."
Yeah, he's like, "I'm following you." He's like, "Okay, then follow me then. Come on." Like literally. So this actually is a great opportunity to talk a little bit about her mother, because her mother reappears in this same scene. Like a lot happened in that post-torture scene.
There's so much to say about her mother. And again, I feel like if you go back and reread chapter 1 of Fourth Wing, you can kind of see the hints of this already. Her mother knew that if Violet was a scribe, she would figure everything out and then destroy it all.
Yeah, she would burn it down.
Burn this world down. She would not.
She wouldn't lie.
She would be the revolution. And I'm just like, that's a wonderful thing for a mother to say. But you put her in the wrong place because she just started the revolution.
Well, there was no other
10
place.
years sooner.
She couldn't be in the infantry. Ugh. So what else?
No.
And she had something in her pocket. She had Xaden in her pocket. So she said, well, I'll put her there and he owes me. So he will keep her alive.
Did that surprise you?
No, because I feel like we knew that I knew that his mother had, I can't remember if it was in Fourth Wing or not, but when those marks on his back, I knew his mother, her mother did it to him. So I'm like, okay, so he took those in Fourth Wing. He explains how he got those for the 101 people, 107 of them that he decided kids, to look out for and take ownership of, right? So I'm like, well, I'm sure it's not cut and dry as that. And obviously the person making that choice is her mother because she's the general. So
yes,
that didn't surprise me. I'm like, okay, that makes more sense why he didn't kill her on sight. Because I wondered that in the first book. I'm like, he figured out who she was and just let her be. I'm like, nah, it wasn't no love at first sight. Nah, it was something else. Now we know what it was. So I wasn't surprised. Were you surprised?
No, I wasn't surprised either. Especially like as soon as she saw the mark on his chest, I was like, oh, well, now he's protecting her because it's over his heart and she's his heart. Like, duh. There was a chapter header somewhere in Fourth Wing, and I forgot to write this down, but it was correspondence from Lilith to the king saying, I don't think we should make these children watch their parents be executed. It's wrong. We're going to do it anyway, but I think it's wrong. And I'm like,
that shows.
Hello, this is her personality. She thinks it's wrong, but she's going to do it anyway because it's for the right of the country and her boss says so. So she's kind of like Dane in that sense.
She's like one of the people that abide by the letter of the group she's with until it's her children. So her children are the exception.
Even then, she was kind of...
She
sent Brennan to die. Yeah. She sent Mira to die.
See, I don't think she sent them to die exactly. It wasn't an execution. It was...
No, not an execution.
Yeah, so she didn't keep them safe. But she didn't... Okay, think about it. She didn't really keep Violet safe either. She puts her out there with these warriors and she like, look... Hell, even after she's hurt and stuff, she's like, look, we don't get carried. We walk, okay, bitch?
Yes.
Walk. I'm like, oh. So she's a hardened person, right? Even when she's trying to care for her kids, she is hard.
Yes.
It's her personality. I'm like, your child just got beat to death and you told her to walk? I'm like, damn.
Her hip is not in its right spot. Like her
she
legs
don't care.
have been broken.
She like, walk. You're Sorensen. We don't do that mess. You don't get carried. So, but I mean, it's like she is hard with all her kids, and I think she wants them. Ultimately, like I think if she knew there was a hit on one of her kids, she would stop it. I feel like she would stop that. Like, she said she didn't know she was being tortured, and she came as soon as she figured out what the hell was going on. So I don't think
and
she
didn't know about the setup in the first book either.
Right.
And as soon as she found out, she did punish Dane's father.
Right.
Although he should have been executed.
Yes.
But
so I don't know. I feel like she's one of those people that ride the line but veer toward the bad. Like, she's not a good person. But okay, you're my blood, you're my child, I birthed you, I'll save you from death. But that's about it. I'm not going to save you from anything else but death. The rest, you're on your own. Figure it out. I don't know. That's my take on her.
Yeah. But do you think she redeemed herself at the very end?
I think she tried to. I think she did in a way. I mean, she saved everyone by giving up her life power. Like her, she died. So I think death is, I guess, the ultimate redemption, doing it for someone else, other people, because she saw what Violet was trying to do. And she said, no, this is not going to happen. Like, step aside, you know, she did what needed to be done. So, yeah, I mean, she saved her daughter in the end, and she saved everybody else by helping to get the words put back up. So, yeah, simple answer, yes, I think she redeemed herself. Okay. What do you think?
I agree. I thought it was a powerful death. It was a little bit of a cop-out because I kind of wanted her to have to face some consequences and deal with her children and deal with the fallout of, you know, this is what it takes to follow the rule. Like, just deal with the consequences of her actions, basically. But she needed to die to protect everybody. So, yes, that is a redemption.
And I think she did have a taste of that. Like, when she saw that Brennan was alive, he had none of it. He like, nope, I'm not talking to you. I don't know you. You're dead to me. And even when she saw him again, I'm here for them. Don't talk to me. You know what I mean? She felt it. Miro's like, talk to the head, bitch. I mean, the only one that gave her some kind of, like, I guess, tried to deal with her a little bit was Violet. The other two kids were like, meh. And Violet was like, well, I know this is what she'll do, so this is why I'm doing it. Even she was being strategic with dealing with her own mother. Yes. So I think ultimately she knew her kids hate her guts. There's no way you can't know your kids hate you. They weren't hiding it.
No, they were not hiding it at all.
Right. So, I mean, I think she felt that, and I think she thought she owed this to them. I mean, plus she wants to do what's right for her people, right? All her people, her school, her, you know. So, yeah, she earned it, in my opinion. I'm okay with it. And now we can move on from that.
Yeah, now we can move on to the other relationships that need mending.
You know, speaking of mothers, do you think... I think Xaden's mom's going to come back around.
Oh, definitely. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
She just disappeared when he was 10 and happened to skip over the whole revolution and wasn't executed. Oh, fuck yeah. She's coming back.
Yeah.
And she's going to play some big important role.
Yeah. So the question is, did she really walk away because, like, what was her motivation for walking away? That's going to be the whole thing when she comes back. Like, you just abandon your kid, or are you, you know, and I know Xaden can relate to her doing anything like that is against the government, right? Like, if she's a part of this revolution, then he's going to give her a pass for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I left because I wanted to protect you. I left. I wanted to make things better.
Well, I wonder if she has some kind of powers herself. Like, where did his power to read intention come from? Can she read minds? Can she do something like that? Could she read the future? And does she know like, I think it's going to be really big and powerful, whoever she is and however she comes back.
Yeah, I think so too. She's going to be a player, but how? She's probably, well, I don't think she's going to have a dragon or anything, because all the dragons talk to each other and they all know, and usually only writers get dragons. So she's not going to have that, but she's going to have something else. She's going to have some she's going
to have some kind
puzzle
of power,
that's going to fit into this thing. But how?
How is the question?
How is the question? Okay, I think now's a good time to take a quick break. You guys check out these commercials. By listening to those, you are supporting the podcast. Don't forget to check out the book review journal available right now on Amazon, and we'll be right back. Today's episode is brought to you by the Shelf Addiction merch store. Check out all the bookish t-shirts, notebooks, mugs, and more. Don't miss out on these original designs, perfect for any book nerd. Support the podcast and visit shelfaddiction.com/merch and pick up your next favorite bookish item. All right, welcome back, guys. What should we tackle next? There's so
much. We have barely scratched the surface.
Honestly, there's so many things. I feel like we're just getting the things that were most impactful to us.
But very quickly, I want to talk about Brennan.
Okay, let's talk about Brennan. What about him?
You know, he was the giant plot twist at the end of the first book. The second book, book 2, she just starts off staring at him. And she's like, he's staring at me and I'm staring at him. And what the fuck? My brother's alive.
Showdown.
I was actually disappointed that it was just his friend who brought him back to life.
Yeah? How come?
I was expecting like there was some big plot. They had planned the whole thing. Mm-hmm. I was hoping that maybe they were gay boyfriends who were just trying to run away.
Okay. So there is a group of people, a subset of people I've been seeing that have been like wanting this. Like they are wanting them to couple. Like, you know, that's what they wanted.
Brennan and...
What's the guy's name? It starts with an N, I think.
Yeah, I want to say Nigel, but that's totally wrong.
Yeah, like people are like, I was reading some comments and I'm like, oh, people are like, what do you call it? Rooting for them or
rooting for them? Yeah, that
standing
was me.
them.
I was 100% like, oh my god,
yeah,
they're gay lovers. They're just trying to get out of this school so they don't die. Mm-hmm. Like the whole thing was planned. Taryn doesn't know. Like I was theorizing all this, and no, he just brought me back to life and died in the process. And I was like, god damn it.
I know, but
that's
I guess
such a
anything
letdown.
Can happen. It can still happen, right? Is he dead? Is he?
Well, according to Taryn and everybody else, he's dead and has actually been dead for the last 6 years, not just fake dead like Brendan.
Yeah, I don't know.
Unless he faked his death and is hiding on a different continent.
Look, I'm starting to feel the vibe where if you don't show me the body, I don't believe it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no. That was exactly how I felt about Jack. I was like, there's no body. Yes, he's buried under a bunch of rocks, but there's no body and there's no blood. He's coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And lo and behold, here he is.
Yeah.
So
he's back. That's I'm like, anyone can be alive. I feel like unless we know for sure, we saw them die on the page, anything is possible. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I feel like Brennan's got something going on.
Brennan has to have something. Like for 6 years, he's just been over here chilling, doing nothing. Well, raising rank and starting a revolution, but like,
he didn't have that much page time. So maybe he'll have his turn to be more of the focus, I think.
I hope so.
Yeah.
But I will say, I absolutely, like, one of my top favorite scenes was Mira seeing him for the first time.
Him right in the face.
And just punching him right in the face.
He deserved it. She like, how
and then the three
you?
of them bickering, like, what the fuck? You're alive? Oh my God. That was a sibling moment. I love it.
And it's funny how, like, Violet kind of feels herself slipping right back into that third child slot. She's like, oh no, here it is. They're arguing and I'm just sitting here. And then she get in there with them, running her mouth and then say this like, why did I think I wanted siblings? This is a mess.
You don't want siblings.
It's a mess.
Siblings are a hot ass mess.
Yeah, I love that though. I mean, and they band together, you know, even though they disagreed and didn't like what Brennan did. I don't blame him for being mad. That's 6 years of mourning.
I would be so fucking pissed. Yeah. I would be hitting him all day, every day for at least a year.
Yeah, every time I look at him, slap upside the head. That's what you get.
I cried for 6 years thinking you're dead.
Yeah.
I'm going to slap you, you asshole.
You get 6 years of slaps. That's what you get. Yeah.
But yeah, that was one of my favorite moments in the book.
And I was like,
there were so
dang!
many, but yeah, no, I was really disappointed that his comeback story was just, oh yeah, I was just alive and my dragon was alive too, and we're just over here, la-di-da-di-da.
Just chilling.
Like, I wanted something bigger or better or anything.
Yeah. Maybe she didn't have time to fit it in. I mean, she fit in a lot of everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we'll get more insight into those 6 years. Like I said, maybe in book 3 or later down the line, he'll tell more of what he was up to during that time.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yep.
Yeah, because I think he deserves it. Like, and even Mira, I would love to see a little bit more about her. I mean, we've gotten some stuff, but it's always been surface. Even in book 1, she just shows up, hey, takes care of her little sister for a little while, and then she's off. You know, she comes back, she's off, back off. And it's like, we don't really know her like that, but I want to know more about her too.
Same in this book. She kept coming back and then disappearing and coming back and disappearing. And yeah. I want more of her. I want more of all the secondary characters. They're all so fun.
You know who I don't want more of?
Who?
Kat's bitch ass. Bitch!
Yes.
Okay, so even though I feel like she's on a redemption arc, she's starting to get on the path after Violet saved her. But still, I'm like, this hoe. Okay, so that fight. So she calls her to the mat after everybody, you know, the day when they're announced that they're about to be one squad. This is your last chance to get it in. Because once y'all merge, y'all can't fight each other anymore. So everybody from the Flyers are calling out people on her team, are calling out people on her team. And I'm like, okay, Violet's like, this is about me. I know.
Of course it is.
So Rhiannon is like, okay, it's about all of us then. We gonna come on, we go back to back, we gonna do this. And I'm like, okay. And then of course she calls Violet and I'm like, duh. So
like,
they start fighting.
Saw that coming.
And as she's talking to her, like ribbing at her about Xaden, I'm like, that is low. And I'm like, that.
Of course I don't want him. I just want the crown. I'm supposed to be queen.
But like all the other stuff, she's like, oh, that trick with his finger. I'm like, ugh.
I love Xaden's response later where he was like, I never used my tongue on her.
No, yes.
You're the only one that got my tongue.
Okay, so they have this fight. And at the end, honestly, even without her amplifying my emotions, just based on how she was ribbing me, I would have been trying to choke her out too.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if I wanted to kill her, but I tried to choke her out. And Xaden's like, look, I don't care if you kill her, but I know you would care if you kill her. So you might want to stop.
You might want to stop. You can kill her for me, and I'd be fine with that, but you would be upset later.
So he pulls her off after she asked for help, like, because her emotions were so high, she couldn't turn it off. She couldn't, like, physically get off the woman. He comes and takes her off. And then so after the whole showdown, they figure out she's using her powers, which was against the rules. She's using her signet. He goes in this scene. I'm like, okay, so this scene, y'all, they are in this crown, like, room with, like, the throne and everything.
The throne.
I'm like, Lord have mercy.
That is one of the hottest scenes they've had.
Yeah. I'm like, shit, he's trying to prove some stuff to her. Because he could hear, like, all the things that she felt.
He heard everything.
Yeah, he heard
everything.
All her things, like, were coming out both of their mouths. And he knew that she felt really insecure. So he's like, I'm going to prove to you that I don't care about that. I care, like, he loves her. He never cared about that other girl like that. So
nope.
He does this thing and he's like, oh, that's something I've never done.
This is only for you. I only do this for you.
I never got on my knees in front of anybody. I never put my tongue in there really for anybody. And she's like, oh. I'm like, what? He tried to prove it. And I guess he proved his point, I think.
I don't know, because Violet kept getting wishy-washy with him afterwards still.
Yeah.
I was like, God damn, girl.
Although she knows how to present well, because the next time she makes a comment, you know, after they join teams and all this, and she can't beat her ass anymore. And she's like, oh, you know that finger trick? Thank you.
I would have been like, that finger trick? He did it with his tongue.
Yeah.
And oh my God, girl, it's incredible.
You're missing out on that one. I'm like, girl, that whole cat, I swear, she is awful. But I feel like that's just how she was raised. And by the end of this, she's going to be someone we like. I feel like the author's going to do that.
Yeah. Honestly, I could have done without her in this entire book.
Yeah.
Like that whole subplot would have been nicer, but I understand why she's here. And, it's the second half of the book bringing everybody together. And I'm just like, ugh, I wish she wasn't here though.
I know. It was a lot. Like, honestly, Violet did not need one more reason to hold something against Xaden. It's like she had a lot already. It's like she kept having things. And I'm like, that was just the icing on the cake. Did we need it? No, we did not need it.
No.
It was just more drama for the sake of drama.
It was just, and then that's why I knew that, Xaden was going to turn. Because now that they have gone through all of their emotional drama, they're on the same page. There's nothing new that can separate them or really bring them apart. What's next?
Yeah.
Well, something physical, something evil, something turning to the dark side.
Yeah. Oh, that's
quote unquote.
It's so bad because he does this thing where he keeps saying, "You love me." And he's reminding himself that she loves him, not telling her per se, but he's saying this to kind of reinforce that she's not going to run off screaming when he tells her. I'm like, shit. Oh, that was horrible. I felt so bad for him. Like, damn.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. I felt bad for him. He just wants to be loved. And I want to read those fucking letters.
We'll get them.
God.
We'll get them.
We better get them.
Yeah.
So, quick note, speaking of the letters, Fourth Wing, special edition, extra chapters. As I was rereading, I went and read the special chapters during each chapter. It was chapter 9 and chapter 16. It's so cute.
Is it? Okay, I want to go back and just read those.
He's so in love with her.
Are those from his point of view?
Don't tell anybody new to read those chapters first because he does spoil Brennan in chapter 9, I think.
Okay, so they are from his POV?
Yeah, they're from his POV, but it's him watching her and starting to catch feelings.
Aww.
And he's like, who the fuck is this girl? Why am I attracted to her? She's hot. But it's just cute.
Oh, it is cute. Okay, I'm going to read them today. I got time.
Yes.
I'm going to read them today.
Yes. Yeah, I want more from his point of view, but I completely understand why she won't write it from his point of view until the last chapter of the book, because there's so much in his head that
yeah.
No, you can't spoil this.
Yeah.
Because again, immediately he's like, oh, she looks like Brennan. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, that would totally spoil the whole...
That would spoil everything.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. I got to go back. I'm going to read those this morning. I have some time. So yeah, I'm excited because I didn't even think, honestly, it was a push. So this book came out on Tuesday. And because I work a 9 to 5 and I'm in the office 3 days a week, those were all my office days. So I had to download the audiobook to compensate because I couldn't sit at my desk reading this. So
it came out Tuesday. I had work all week because I had to finish this round of edits. Then I picked up this book on Friday, finished it Saturday, picked up this book Saturday afternoon, and goddamn, it took me forever to fucking finish.
That's why you didn't finish in time. You just started. Okay, so, girl, I'm thinking you're reading this all week. That's what I'm like.
No, I started it on Saturday. I read this in 24 hours.
You get a pass. You're better than me because I couldn't finish it in 24 hours. It took me 4 whole days. Tuesday. 5 days it took me because I was just reading. I was listening off and on during the day between meetings, and I would read for an hour or something at night. So I had to piecemeal it out, and then I just finished.
I read book 1, shut it, opened book 2 immediately, and then I was like, Well, damn.
Okay.
This is a long ass book.
Because I read the last 50%. So the whole week, it took me 50% to get through the whole, for the week. And then when Saturday hit and Sunday, I blasted through the last 50% in 2 days when I could not be working.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, girl, you're a rock star. She rocked it, y'all. Casey rocked it. She finished it. One day. She got it. She gets the gold star.
I'm definitely going to be rereading it again and again.
That's what I feel like. I feel like it deserves another read because I feel like because I was in such a frantic, reading zone, I'm not sure. I'm sure there's things I missed that I would catch another time around.
Absolutely. And again, like even rereading Fourth Wing, there was so much, like reread the first chapter Fourth Wing and you'll be like, holy fuck, this is the entire book just in the conversation between her mother and Mira and Violet. Like in the conversation, the foreshadowing is so fucking brilliant. And I know I keep saying this, but like as an editor, I work with hundreds of authors and I rarely ever see foreshadowing this intense and this beautiful and this subtle. And I'm just like, I love your brain. I love how you write. I love the foreshadowing because there's clues for fucking everything everywhere. And again, I'm 100% convinced she's already told us how Xaden's going to be fixed.
And she's already
whether
told
it's his
us
mother, whether it's Violet, whether it's the Fables, like she has told us.
She's told us.
And once we get to it, we can look back and be like, oh, fuck.
It is there.
It's there.
And she's already told us what Violet's signet is. She's already told us. I need to go back. I'm sure it's there.
Oh, yeah. Probably with the strength and why she's not breaking while they have sex.
I know.
I can't get over that.
Yeah, I'm
this
like,
girl
y'all having rowdy sex, like in showers and, all the things.
Everywhere. Every time they have sex, they're breaking stuff. I'm like, she should have some broken bones over this, but she doesn't.
Never does. Oh, by the way, speaking of sex, I do like how Xaden threw down the new rule in their relationship. We're not arguing in the bedroom. We're not fighting in there. We do other stuff in there. So fights are off limits in there.
Yes.
I'm like, look at him being smart. That is something a woman would write. But it was perfect.
He is a man written by a woman, and I love him. I love him so much.
We know what we want, damn it. And that's what it is. It's him.
Yes.
You know who we didn't talk about? We didn't talk about Sloane at all.
Oh, Sloane. Liam's sister. Oh, my God.
Her ass, she come on the scene like, Violet, you ain't shit.
I hate Violet so much.
You ain't shit.
You killed my brother.
Yeah.
I want to kill you.
She like, first day, I'm gonna fight you. She like, girl. Don't do
it. You can't. You don't know how to fight.
You don't know anything. And they're looking at her like, this is Liam's sister? How that happened? She don't know nothing.
She has grown and come to love Violet eventually. It took her almost 600 fucking pages.
Only because of Liam's letters. So when Liam died, she hid. They usually burn everything. But she took these letters and she had Rhiannon hide them. Rhiannon, however you say it. She hid them. And so basically she said, look, bitch, you're going to live and you're going to train. And you're going to train. And at the end of every training week, you'll get a letter. And she like, what letter? And then she's like, okay, I agree. And so through those letters, her heart has softened toward Violet. Not only that, she sees she's actually trying to help her. So that combination of things thawed her heart. And she started to understand that it's not your fault. He would have done it anyway. I wish it weren't him, but it was. She grew up a lot in 1 year.
Yes, she did.
Yeah, I like her. And like when Kat calls her to the mat, she don't like Kat either because we find out that they were all like in the same vicinity of each other. So she didn't like her. She's like, I hope you kick her butt. Get her. She like sitting her in there. She hyping her. Take her out, basically. Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. I love little Sloane. She is like,
I do too.
I think she's gonna be really good.
So what do you think about the little prince? If you're bringing up Sloane, we have to at least mention the fact that there is a prince in their group right now.
Yeah, he snuck his ass in. And of course, Violet recognizes him and immediately, and he's going by a different name. And she's like, okay, this what you want to do. I don't know. I'm curious to see what Yarros does with his character. I'm still kind of like, he's not a main character by any means. But he's floating around, kind of doing stuff, helping a little bit. I think there's going to be something interesting coming for him. I think it's funny. I'm like, you, instead of your father thinks you're gallivanting around the world for your birthday, and here you are in war school.
At the school, war school, getting a dragon because he knew the truth.
Yeah, he knew,
and he wanted to fight for it.
Yeah,
and. I think good things are going to come from him. I'm kind of excited about his character.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good. What else? Who else? Who else should we touch on?
There was their core group.
So big, it's growing.
I know. But the four of them, there was 5 before Nadine died. But the 4 of them, they're like, yeah, we're not going to die until we graduate. I don't know. Rebecca Yarros keeps killing people, and it's surprising, and it's just violent, and it's there, and it's done. But then in the final battle, none of the main people died.
Yeah. Well, one almost did.
Yeah. Sawyer lost part of his leg.
Yeah.
But I was like, that's yes, there's pain, but I don't want them to die. It just felt unrealistic that they wouldn't die when they're fighting a hell of a lot more versus book 1 when Liam died.
Well,
and Riddick's dragon was getting clawed up at one point. I was like, oh, well, he's going to die now. And then they didn't die. And I don't know. It just, I think she wanted to hold off on all the other deaths to focus on the mom's death, just to be like, this is the important one. Look at this. Feel pain for this.
Yeah.
But still, it was kind of...
I think that the author, if I had to guess, she probably thought that Liam was enough to carry for 2 books, which he was.
Probably, yeah.
He was. It was enough to carry through this book. And that doesn't mean that one of them can't be taken out in book 3.
Oh, yeah, no. I don't think they're all going to survive until the very end, which is really sad. I want them all to live. But I was like, why is nobody dying in this battle?
They made it by the skin of their teeth. They made it. I mean, look, and Violet's ass running on Taryn.
On the dragon.
She's leaping, and he's like, stay your ass in the saddle. He's like, stay in there.
You're buckled in for a reason, girl.
She's like, I can do it. I'm like, wait a minute. She jumping in the air, jumping from dragon to dragon. Again, it's inconsistent with her her physical condition. It's very inconsistent.
Well, the adrenaline from the battle. If you notice, when there's a lot of adrenaline, she doesn't really notice her body or her pain. It kind of comes afterward. And we saw this in book 1 when they were doing the gauntlet, So when there's a lot of adrenaline, her body is fine.
Yeah.
Afterwards, she'll be like, oh my God, my knee's out of its socket or whatever.
Yeah, which is still crazy to me, though. There was this one scene where she mentioned she almost rolled her ankle or something, and she's running. She corrected. She almost broke her ankle. Oh my God, girl. And I get it. I'm willing to accept it. I'm willing to let it pass because honestly, these action scenes and war fight scenes, they are so fast paced. And if you listen to the audiobook, Rebecca Solar, she talks faster during these war scenes. So it really
as you should.
Feels like this, then that, then this, and that, and that. It's very action packed. And the
writing style changes because she writes shorter, faster sentences. She doesn't use filler words. There's a lot of verbs. There's a lot of movement. And again, I love her brain. I love it so much because it's very different. It's a little similar to the sex scenes. The sex scenes are short, but very emotional, but the action is there.
Right.
The walking down the hallway, talking with friends has a different vibe. It has a different cadence to the sentences.
Which is why, I was saying, I was okay with Violet's inconsistencies with her abilities because the action's so good. Who cares? We'll see what happens after. I'm not like in that moment like, oh, she shouldn't be able to do that. It's after, I'm thinking about it. But
oh yeah,
I give it a pass.
But she's also been, weightlifting and strengthening her muscles, and she's gotten a little better. But yeah, I just blame the adrenaline. Like, she's so high on adrenaline that even if she did break her knee or whatever, like, she would just keep running.
Lord have mercy. I cannot. This girl has the highest pain tolerance I've ever seen.
Yes. I think that anybody has ever seen. When she was tortured, they were like, how are you still not talking to us? Nobody can survive this.
She puts that pain in a box with everything else she don't want to deal with at the moment. She shuts it tight. So maybe maybe her second signet has something to do with mental abilities, something mental.
Controlling emotions.
Maybe not emotions, but I don't know. Something.
Yeah, no, it's going to click into place.
Yeah.
Just the way his did. And it was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. If he can read intentions, that's why he knows who to trust, who not to trust, what to tell people, what they need to hear.
He's got like a really good set of skills. And the shadow stuff I think that is so crazy how the shadows become like a physical thing almost.
I still don't understand how.
Yeah.
But okay, it's a magical land. Shadows can be lassos and pull dragons around.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, okay. You're going to kill somebody with a shadow? Sure.
Yeah, that's good.
Sure. Okay. Magic.
Okay. Is there anything else? I know we're coming up on your time. Is there?
Yes. There's so much more, but I can't. I can sit here for 6 hours and keep talking about this book, but I won't. I won't bore you. I will cut myself off.
There are a lot more things to cover, but there's no way we could have done that in an hour. It's just not possible. But I think we got the most important things to us.
Honestly, yes. But give me a few hours and be like, oh, we should have talked about this. We should have talked about that. We should have done these other, there's just so much to talk about.
So how do you think Yarros did putting this book out so quick? Fourth Wing came out this year. So that means...
I think she is an excellent plotter. I think the storyline could have been condensed a little bit, but overall, there's not a lot of fat in this book. She makes everything intentional and important. And if she puts it in the book, then it's necessary for later. I want to cut Cat out, but Cat's going to become important, right?
I feel like I agree with the what you're saying, quote unquote, fat, right? There's not a lot of it, but I feel like she still tried to cram too much. I think that maybe she could have been a little bit more strategic with holding back a little bit and putting it in other books, especially knowing there's going to be 5. I felt like there was a lot going on in this book, and we could have had it a little bit more tight, I think. I don't know if that's the right word.
Yes, but I'm holding out for the hope that everything is intentional because so much of the other stuff is intentional and, setting up, and I don't know. See, look, this is my problem with it. And let me be really frank. I really enjoyed this book, but I feel like the trend with romantasy titles has been more. The readers want more on top of more on top of more. So following the Sarah J. Maas trend, each book gets a little bit thicker. Does it need to? Probably not, but we're going to. So we jumped 100-ish pages. Maybe we'll jump another 100-ish pages next time, and this thing gonna be almost 800 pages. Oh, Jesus.
So I feel like that's what I'm talking about. Do we need everything, all the things? No. Do we need so many characters? No. But it's intricate, and that is what causes this. But in my opinion,
I will say we need more characters so people can keep dying off. And that's what she's doing. She's because we had so many people in book 1, and then she killed everybody because it was their first year and they were constantly dying. And then, at the very beginning, their core
She's
group was
padding
this
them.
tiny, and then she started bringing in more people, and then they started
But
dying
we don't
off.
know them a lot. So all of those flyers, the Griffin flyers, we don't know many of them. We just know Kat and her cousin or whatever.
Yeah. Well, now that they're established, we're going to learn more about them. We're going to get 300 pages of friendship in the next book, and then somebody's going to randomly die and attack in a cave.
But mark my words, the next book is going to be fatter. 100 pages.
Yeah.
No doubt. And so I think that's just my one critique. Just does it have to be so big? I don't know. Would I want 7 smaller books or 5 fat books? That's what all I'm saying.
I don't know. Yeah. All right.
Let's rate it. Let's quickly rate it. You go first.
5 stars. 5 stars.
Okay.
I love her brain so much. The foreshadowing alone, 5 stars. Across the board, 5 stars. The details, 5 stars.
Okay.
The fact that she's hiding stuff in plain sight for us, 5 stars.
Okay.
The Xaden and his boundaries, oh my God, 5 stars.
Okay, so when I first closed the book, I thought 5 stars, but I've changed it since I've had overnight to think about it. It's 4 stars for me. If we did halves, it'd be 4.5, but it's not perfection to me. Some of it I need to go back and reread because there was a lot crammed in there. Sometimes I thought it was a little too much and I had to figure out what the hell was going on. I don't like when I have to go back and reread parts, but I feel like that's what I was doing just because the amount of information packed in so tight. And that's my critique. That's it. But the rest was excellent. So 4 out of 5.
That's
and
good.
I think that it's going to get better as we go. I hope.
I hope so. I think so.
Yeah.
The amount of shit she put in here, I think is setting us up for the next 3 books. We'll be in book 5 and be like, wait, remember when back in book 2 or back in book 1 they said.
But the idea of rereading these 2 books next year to prepare for book 3, that is daunting to me.
I am so nerdy and so excited. I'm going to be like, yes, I'm going to keep rereading these.
Well, I'm going to have to start rereading well in advance because I can't be pulling what you pull.
I can't do it in 2 days.
So I'd have to prepare leading into the release for me to do this in a comfortable way that feels good, right?
Yes.
All right. I think we're done. What do you think, Casey?
I think we're done for now.
Okay, well, this has been a fun conversation. If you enjoyed our chat on Iron Flame, be sure to like and share this with other fans of romantasy. And we'll be back here next month with something new. We'll see you guys next time. Take care of yourselves. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
If you enjoyed today's episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a positive 5-star review, or like this episode on your favorite podcast player. It seems so simple, but it really helps me out. You can share this podcast with other book nerd friends or on your favorite social media space. You can also join the Shelf Addiction Patreon family. For as little as $2 a month, you will help us produce even more awesome content for your ears. You can also consider joining the Shelf Addiction official Facebook group where we talk all things bookish and more in a safe space. The Shelf Addiction podcast is a part of the Nerdy Maven network. You can also reach us via email at info@shelfaddiction.com. Thank you for listening.